My name is Beau Martonik with the East Meets West Hunt podcast, and I live in the Big Woods region of north central Pennsylvania, hunting in the Appalachian Range all throughout the Northeast. When it comes to understanding buck movement in the Big Woods, trail cameras are a very vital part of my scouting and hunting plan for these types of areas. I run my trail cameras basically year round, and I like to use that data from the trail cameras for future hunts. And if you can actually learn from that data, it can be extremely valuable. I utilize different strategies for deploying those cameras, and depending on the time of year and experience in that area is how I lay them out throughout the land. So I break that down into a 3-year strategy, and that 3-year strategy is, all right, so I say I'm hunting, I want to go into a new area. I want to go in and I want to spread out my cameras based on different terrain levels up and down the mountain, and also different vegetation features to try to get a good representative sample to see what kind of bucks are in the area, what type of elevation they're running, things like that. Those are the first things I'm considering. And as I dive into the second and third years, I'm getting more specific and focusing on, all right, this terrain level, this elevation line was something that was better than down lower. All right, maybe I want to cluster some more cameras in that area around the ridge further on that line. I want to figure out where they're bedding. All of these things I learn from trail cameras, and to be able to apply it going forward in the years. All right, so I'm out in the field and I wanted to show an example of a place that I would run a trail camera throughout the year and to be able to gather that data. If I go into a brand new spot, just to recap on some things, I want to cover as much of the different elevation spots as I possibly can. And say if an area doesn't have as much elevation, it's a little more flat, some gradual hills and places like that, then I want to focus more on the vegetation side of it. I'm trying to get the most bang for your buck on being able to figure out what kind of deer live there and when they're traveling through that. So for the first year, I'm setting them up on different elevation points, on big community scrapes. That's my main focus. That's going to be the place where I'm going to get the most photos throughout the year. And those places can be where a lot of trails cross. It can be on a side hill bench, it can be out on a point, it can be on the edge of a clear cut. In this situation, we've got a side hill bench and a vegetation edge. So we have some hemlocks, and then we also have some open hardwoods here on this bench towards the top of the hill. I want to focus on those areas for the most part, because community scrapes are a place that all of the deer are using as a communication tool. They're rubbing their forehead glands, their preorbital glands, their saliva. They're rubbing all of that on that licking branch. The pawing of the ground is a part that I focus more on in October and November. It's the branch that's the key to these scrapes and why it's such a good tool all around. So I want to put those or find those in the best traveling areas at those different elevations. So say on the upper third of the mountain on one bench, I had the most buck activity, or specific buck that I'm looking at, and I didn't have it down towards the bottom, and maybe I had him once on the top. Well, I want to focus more around these areas and figure out, okay, was he a couple hours after dark? Maybe he's coming from a little bit further away. Maybe he's bedding that way. I want to scout those areas, find that out. All right, maybe I found some great thick cover out on this point. Well, then I want to find a scrape right off of the edge of that cover, or good trails that are coming out of it, and run a camera there and just start adding to that, but working that same topography line, the same type of terrain, same type of vegetation that you found the original one in, and continually molding that over a strategy of years and building until you learn a specific buck, or just how bucks in general use an area. So all of those things are important, what I'm looking for. If I find an area that looks great and there might not be a scrape there already, I'll make a mock scrape. So I'll just take my boots and paw up the ground and have a licking branch above, either break it off if there's one there, or in the example that I have here, I have a branch that, well, there was no branch over it, but it was just the perfect spot, when you find it. where a bunch of trails are crossing and you feel like there should be a scrape there. So I took a branch that had fallen off of a tree and hung it over top of another one down and right in front of the path. Literally, this branch blocks the path essentially, and running a camera on that is able to help me identify the deer that are in that area. And on the specific example, I've done test runs with it. I've been able to figure that out, that the deer are using this one, and it's kind of cool to see when you make your own scrape and then to see the deer use it as it's one of their own. It's pretty rewarding. It doesn't always work out that way, but that's why you run cameras in multiple different locations, to be able to identify what's the best for that specific area. All areas are different, and you just need to be able to apply the knowledge that you learn to be able to predict in other areas and let the camera data tell you what that information is doing for you. Now, once you have some data, what you're doing with that trail camera data, instead of just looking at, okay, there's a buck in this photo, a nice deer, you want to take that data, put it on your computer, log it, and well, first, before you even log it, you want to put it in folders that are easily accessible. Find your own way to be able to organize those, back up those files, and then log it in either a Microsoft Excel sheet, or what I use is Google Sheets that I can access anywhere, and log in the date and the time, the identification that I name for a buck so it's easily trackable. I'm putting the weather data, and I'm putting any other pertinent notes in there that's possible. Then I'll apply a sort layer on there so I can sort it by specific buck, by specific date, whether it was daylight or nighttime, and to really be able to help me move forward with learning that buck, be able to take that trail camera data and apply it to how I'm going to strategize my cameras next year, and more importantly, how I'm actually going to hunt those areas. There's a use for every different type of camera. Obviously, we can't all run cell cameras, but by running those cameras, whether it's a regular one or a cell camera, that data is useful for years to come. These places aren't changing that much. They might come in and log the area. They might, maybe there's not a mass crop. Maybe there's not this. There's obviously variables that come into it, but for the most part, these deer are a creature of habit. So if a buck was working a scrape in daylight one year between October 28th and 30th, look at the weather, look at all that stuff, and pay attention to those areas in future years. That might be a spot you want to hunt because it was getting hot around that time of year. So especially in the big woods, the mountainous type terrain that we have all through the Appalachian Mountains of the East, these types of trail camera tactics can help you in what seemingly are ghosts of deer at some point.